It's King B with another video. It's something I was thinking about that's kind of been on my mind, you know, for the churchgoers out there. You're praying, and I wonder what God, who is really your God? The God that you're praying to, is that really who you're serving or worshiping? And I was thinking about this because I see it this way. You got people out there, you got folks out there, and well, first I want to say everyone has the right to believe what they want to believe and follow whatever religion they choose to follow. No one is to judge. That being said, I see it this way. I think about it this way. Something's wrong, you got an issue, you go to the doctor. Go to the doctor, you get prescribed medications, you take your medications, right? Prescribed to you by mankind, okay? And you go to your pharmacy, you popping pills, so on and so forth, right? Is the God you proclaim to serve is really your God? Or is mankind your God? Or is the system your God? Who are you really looking to? Who are you really going to for your answers? Okay? Because it just seems to me, it's just my opinion, a lot of people are talking it but not really living it. It's just like some people online, they're making videos and they're talking spirituality and knowledge and this and that. But if you listen carefully, they tell on themselves. If you listen carefully, if you're really listening, paying attention, they tell on themselves. You got some who talk against things and talk against, for example, they'll say something to the effect of talking against people trying to advance their careers, get a job or become an entrepreneur, open up a business for themselves so they could better survive in this system, right? Better survive, make a way for their families so they can eat better, so they can live better, because it's all about survival, right? They'll speak against that, but they have a job. What I'm saying? So these people say stuff like that. Oh, you worried about getting a job or open a business and this? Yeah, but they got a job. They punch a clock. So I think about that. If you have a job and you going to work and you punching the clock and you earning a paycheck and you going home and taking that check and you taking care of your families and you got a house and you paying bills and everything else, then why are you talking against people for trying to get with what you got? Right? It's kind of hypocritical to me. You're judging people and talking down on people for wanting to improve their life by becoming an entrepreneur, for example, or wanting to get into music or whatever have you, speaking against that. But you have a job, you working, you got a house, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, maybe I'm looking at it wrong. But like I said earlier, you got a lot of people talking it, but they're not really living it. And if you're gonna be pushing out a message telling people to abandon this society then lead by example and show how to do it. Do it for real. You do it. Don't sit in the comfort of your home making content and, telling people what they should do, what they should let go of, but meanwhile, you're not doing it yourself. It's kind of like beating the war drum and saying we need to go to war and, we need to hit the streets. And while you pushing that message of we need to go to war and what we need to do, we need to fight, you're not out there standing on that front lines. That's a hypocrite. That's somebody who's dangerous. Be careful who y'all listen to, people. That's all I'm saying. And I know I started this off with talking about religion and posing just sharing my questions, a question I had about that. And I jumped into this. But it all relates to me. It all relates. I actually remember watching a video once. Well, it wasn't a video. I guess this is back on the Blog Talk Radio days. And there's an individual who's still making content today, right, on YouTube. But back then it was Blog Talk Radio. And he kept talking about, we need to go out there and bang on this and bang on that, bang on the enemy. And one day, someone called his bluff and called in and said, to the effect of, listen, I was in the military. I got other people with me. What you want to do? And once that was said, this person backed off, got an attitude. He didn't want to get out there on that front line. So what that tells you, he was just talking. You're not really living it. See, a lot of these people, they have families. And it's just like the church. Now I'm circling back to church because it all relates. Just like the church people, some of these content creators, not all, it's just another hustle for them. That's all it is. It's their job. It's how they make money. So they can live a better life and provide a better life for themselves and for their family, their children, their loved ones. It's just a hustle. It's just a hustle. Just like in the churches, a lot of these pastors and deacons, they using religion, and Jesus is just a hustle. They walking around wearing designer suits, tailored suits, and shoes, and expensive jewelry, driving fancy foreign cars, and meanwhile you catching hell, but you better pay those tithes on time. Some churches even have ATMs, you don't got no cash on you, the ATM in the back. Go hit that ATM, pay those tithes. You know what I'm saying? It's just a hustle, people. Same thing you see in the church, and a lot of these churches, again, not all, but the same thing that's going on in these churches, same thing going on YouTube and, Instagram, TikTok, or whatever other social network, or just some of these people who are so-called conscious and talking so-called knowledge. They're using that knowledge and telling truth as a way, it's just a hustle. It's just a hustle. A lot of them are talking it, but they're not really living it for real. They just talking. Be wise out there, folks, is my point. Be wise. Not only hear, but you gotta listen. Because some of these people, they tell on themselves. They tell on themselves. They're not really living um, they're not living, they actions, they're not really living what they talking. It's just a hustle to them. So be wise, be careful of who you're listening to, okay? And go within. Go within. Go within yourselves. You know, the answers you seek is within you. Stop allowing yourselves to be misled by these wolves in sheep clothing, selling you truth. You know, a lot of them are telling half-truths. They're not really real. You know what I'm saying? You know, so be careful of who you're listening to, is my point. You know, just take a look at how they live and look at the background. Look at how they live and listen, because they do tell on themselves. You know what I mean? What they telling you to do, what you should be doing, they're not doing that for real. Because again, they're using it as a hustle. You know, they're using it as a hustle. Just like the pastors, the deacons, and a lot of these churches, same thing. Jesus is just a hustle to them. You know, that's all. It's just a hustle. Okay? That's all it is. All it is just a hustle, for real. You know what I'm talking about? So again, be careful, you know, and also be honest with yourselves. You know, not all of you. I'm talking to some of you. What God are you really serving? For real? You know, what God are you really serving? You know, be honest. You know what I'm saying? Because I said it before. Your body is amazing. Your body, your temple, your vessel can heal itself, right? Can heal itself if you know what to do, okay? And I'm not giving any medical advice, you know, so this is not medical advice. This is just my opinion, or maybe I'm just some crazy person talking, okay? Let me just say that, you know, but your body is the real temple. You know, you don't need to go to some building or whatever have you like that. Your body is the true temple, you know? So just remember that. But I'm King Beat. Another video while I'm out getting my exercise, you know, getting it in. To the next video. Be well. Peace.